Meeting open and call for apologies. I don't think there are any. We'll start off with our prayer, and in the absence of not having a minister here, we'll say our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we're meeting today, the Wiradjuri people, and pay our respects to their elders past, present, and all new elders into the future. And I'd also like to say what a privilege and honour it is for us to be living on Wiradjuri land with the longest and oldest continuous culture in the world. For that we are very grateful. Okay, the condolences in our Shire over the last month: John Bullock, Amy Mona Dunstan, Terence John Teeney, Gordon Joseph Brown, Kevin Grosvenor Caitlin, Nola Mary Giroux, Beverly Edith Walker, Alan Ross Mackenzie, Shirley Ann Redfern, Ronald Alexander Kershaw, and William Stevenson. Would you please stand for moment of silence?
Move a letter of condolences to the family.
Been moved by Councillor Herbert to send a letter of condolences to the families. It's been seconded by Councillor Willis. I'll put that. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, I declare it carried. Any presentations by anyone? No? Let's hand over to our Director of Engineering, Richard Jane, to introduce our Tom Benny.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. It's with great pleasure that I introduce you to Tom Benty. Tom is joining us as a special projects manager of major projects. So the kind of projects that Tom will be looking after, he's taking over finishing off Goldridge to the end of stage 2B. So after that laneway, he's also will be taking over the Central West Industrial Park. And one very big project under Matt's guidance will be the Derivaby Recycling Centre expansion, which Tom has got a very strong background dealing with EPA and earthworks and those sort of things. But I'll hand over to Tom to give us a bit of real history. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Richard. Good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity to introduce myself. As Richard mentioned, my name is Tom Benty. I am a local boy. I moved away to serve in the military for about 8 years before taking a bit of time off for some young kids, to raise young kids, and give my wife at the time a bit of a hand. Bought an investment property over West Wyalong and commenced over the mine over there at Lake Cow in the very early stages of it, the construction side of things. So I've worked my way up through mining operations, look after mining operations, drill and blast, before starting to get into the project side with cutbacks and finishing off a bit of OH&S with the superintendent role over there, and the big IWL over the integrated waste landform that's currently getting constructed at the moment there. It's a about $127 million job, and that's where a lot of my experience comes with the earthworks and project sites, working with EPA and obviously the guidance that you need to put tailings in a big dam and make sure it doesn't leak over the next 150 years. The last 12 months I've sort of been doing a bit of consultancy work, but working over at Parks with another company that's jumped the fence and went over the contract side of things with the mining side of things. before taking the opportunity to come work with a great team with the major projects. Some of the project that you guys have got going on at the moment is very exciting for the growth and development of the Forbes community, and I think for myself to be involved in that would be fantastic, and for me to give back to the community also. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have no public forum, so we'll go straight into...
Just before we do that, can I just address to the councillor? Just,
yeah, I asked that.
I did hear you say it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was too excited that Tom was coming on board. Thanks, Tom. Can I just say congratulations to Forbes Shire Council and all the work they've put through in the latest flood management team they've put into place, the SES, RFS, and all the agencies have worked like an absolute treat to watch, actually. I know a lot of you guys are involved with that, and it's a seamless operation. It's down to a pretty fine art at the moment. But I'd also like to thank the Honourable Anthony Albanese and the PM of Australia, Premier Honourable Dominic Perrottet, our Minister Steph Cook, and local members Michael McCormick and Phil Donato. They've all been involved with this whole process over the last few weeks. And it's good to see them come along. I could boldly say a lot of that was photo opportunities, but they turned up here to support the community, and we've got to thank them for that. But lastly, just to thank the Forbes community for all the tireless work that's been and the patience they've shown and all this latest event. I think we might have a couple more coming along, but this was pretty well done. Actually, it was quite a good thing to watch, actually. So thank you, everybody. Thanks to the whole team.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, starting on page 11.
Number 2 and 3, please.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor. The notice of motion that I had up, we're starting on page 11. Does that mean
It's in there.
Yes, on page
that's on page 9?
Yes. Oh, sorry. I just flipped.
No, it's all right.
Sorry, because normally a notice of motion will come after
Yes.
the matters in progress. So
It's up first, is it?
are
Or is it
you happy for us to do that after we do it?
Withdrawals.
Or do you want to do it now?
Well, if I could do it now, it'd be
Okay.
better for me. Oh, when,
Do you want to speak to it?
do you want me to speak to it now?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
after
we'll
you
deal with
start-
it. We'll deal with it.
After you do the
No,
withdrawals?
we'll deal with it now and then I'll do the withdrawals.
Okay. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Process?
So there's no motion to be moved because there's none there at the moment, Councillor Cradiana. So I'll give you leeway to speak to it.
That's all right?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
without a seconder because there's nothing to second.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I've raised the motion because I'm asking councillors to consider having Forbes Shire Council investigate the possibility of working in partnership with Park Shire Council in sharing their animal holding facilities. Councils across New South Wales are facing similar challenges in regard to service levels, finances and staffing. We must work to increase efficiency, and one way of doing this is via collaboration with neighbouring councils. We are currently already working in partnership with Park Shire Council with the Elvis Festival, which has had great outcomes for Forbes. Park's animal holding facilities is compliant and is located this side of Parks. They also are the only holding facilities in the Parks Shire, servicing Tullamore, Peak Hill, Trundle, Badengate, Cookmidgera and hopefully Forbes. Parks currently bring their animals, unfortunately, to Forbes to be euthanised. But at some stage, they are planning to undertake appropriate training for their rangers to be able to euthanise animals at their facilities themselves. A section of their facilities would be to be upgraded for this to happen. This is something that Forbes Shire Council could contribute to financially if we were to enter into a partnership. Currently, animals are about $70 to euthanise at our local vets. Minimal movements for these animals will give the animals less stress and reduce the workload and travel time for the rangers. Entering into this agreement would mean that Forbes Shire Council would only have the enormous costs of building and maintaining a new animal holding facilities. I asked the council to consider a shared facilities as an option and commence an investigation of an appropriate lease licensing agreement in negotiations with Shire Council. So I'm just asking, is it possible that Forbes Shire Council could investigate a partnership with Shire Council?
So do you want to move the motion?
Could I move that motion,
Yeah.
please?
It's been moved by councillor Cradiana, is there a second? Seconded by councillor Matisky. Do you still want to speak, or will we get?
No, I think you've got it, so
Okay.
if somebody could, let's just investigate.
Right, is there any other speakers to this motion?
Do we have a second for it? Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, seconded. Brian seconded. The only thing I'm concerned about, and I'm happy to work in the parks at any time at all, but we wanted to put it out, and it would have been very cost effective at the sale yards, but we were told it was too far out of town. Is that what happened?
Yeah, people wouldn't travel out there.
People won't travel out there. So there lies a problem that we've got here now. What we need to work out how those mechanics would work having to go to parks, I suppose.
I guess my other thought was through Madam Mayor is that the sort of the life of the pound. I think collaboration is fantastic, and we do need to be looking at collaborating as we've got our joint organisation collaboration. But with the pound, what's the life of this pound in parks? We have both Shire and Forbes Shire a growing population. So there's lots of questions to be answered regarding this. We have the vets at the moment. Parks has no vets. There's an enormous number of issues, and perhaps I think that we should, as a council, consider it because there is issues regarding sort of upgrading our pound. We need a new pound. So I think that perhaps, yes, I would probably agree that perhaps look into options. We've probably got land in Forbes, have we, Councillor Mayor Miller, that we could utilise for a pound?
We've got sale yards.
We've got lots of land, and I can't
rubbish.
see if it's not too onerous on the staff to investigate this. I think it's probably worth looking at.
Thank
And
you.
it'll probably uncover a lot of issues that we do have regarding animals and euthanasia and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? If not, do you want to close debate, Councillor Cradiana?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I just think that there's so many pluses for me working with parks, with our rangers. It's only 30 kilometres away. And like I said, if we were to work with them, they are going to become compliant with euthanizing in their own facilities. And that's down the track, but they will need some financial assistance in upgrading a section of their facilities to be able to do that. But at the present, all I'm asking for is the council just investigate and come back with a report on a recommendation.
Yeah. Have you had discussions with them, Councillor Cradiana?
No, I haven't. Only discussions. Myself and one councillor from Parks, and he has had discussions with Parks Shire Council at a meeting, and apparently they were very open to it.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Okay, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? I declare it carried. Okay, we go back to withdrawals. Page 12. Oh, sorry. Would someone like to move the minutes of the previous meeting?
Yes.
Been moved by councillor.
With some amendments which we can come to later.
No, you can't.
Oh,
Previous.
Yeah.
Oh, previous minutes.
Previous.
Oh, previous, yeah, okay, they're fine, yeah.
I'll move it.
Thank
I'll
you. It's
second
been
it.
moved by councillor Webb, seconded by councillor Willis. I'll put it all those in favour say aye, against, I declare it carried. Okay, we're back to page 12.
Can we move 5 to part 2, please?
Did you say 5 then?
Item
five.
5.
Yeah.
For you.
Because
Can you tell me why? Because we have had the
We just
reason.
want to find out about the builders.
I'll query on it.
Is
agree
it
with
commercial
building.
incompetence?
Commercial
Commercial
and confidence.
I think it is, yes.
Yes.
Okay, could we note that that is being moved into part 2 because of commercial incompetence?
yep, I'll make it.
Thank you. Page 13. 14.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
Oh,
15.
I was waiting for you to say.
Can I just have 14 on that while we're doing that then?
What do you want, 14?
Page 14, number 14.
Righto. Righto, now it's your turn, councillor
Yeah,
Radium.
thanks. Just 18, please.
Oh,
And I guess it's an opportunity for 19 also, please.
And could I have 20,
20,
please?
okay. Good, yeah.
20 for councillor Duggan.
Thank you.
Yeah, I might double up with Councillor.
Yeah, I was going to double up there too.
16, 17, we are
six,
not
sorry.
debating any of these.
16,
I
28.
realise they're questions only.
Just
Um,
28 and 16.
28 on 16, that's councillor Royal.
Well, you've got ahead of me.
17, 18,
Just on 18, I've got a question, 35.
Which one? What's that?
35.
35.
18, is it? Sorry.
35.
Could I get just a query on 18, please? 39?
on 39.
Yes, please, 18.
Um, 19,
41, Willis.
And
I know your name, I'm right for that.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Councillor Willis. 20,
51.
51,
Yep.
21, 22, 23, 24, 25,
25, just a question, 71.
26, 27,
Yeah, 86.
86,
80. What page are you on, sorry?
we're on page
27.
27,
84.
Oh, yeah, good on it.
28, 29,
95, please.
um, 30. Okay,
Sorry, Madam Mayor, 93, I wanted to pick that
93?
please, 29, please.
Oh, 93, okay.
Any more?
And just 98 on page 30.
98?
Yeah.
Councillor Lewis. Okay, moving on. 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50.
Yes, please.
Councillor Webb. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66,
Yes, please.
67, 68,
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Margie, you do that.
68, Councillor Duggan,
68.
70,
Page 68.
70.
71,
Willis. Oh, sorry.
That's the previous page.
18.9, page 70.
Seventy-one.
72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81,
Can I have 81, please? Just item 5.
Councillor Duggan, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I was sitting here waiting, we've all got that circled.
94,
Yes, please.
95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 11, 12, 13,
Yeah, just a question on 13.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
Is that 19.3? Oh, no, it's-
Yes.
18 is 19.3,
Yep, 19.3.
119, 120, 121, 122, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29,
Yes, please.
130, 131, 132, 134, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39,
Oh, sorry, 138, just questions, thanks, sorry.
and then that is the policy. Is there any parts of the policy that anyone,
Oh, it's just questions in relation to the policy, really.
I'm just asking everyone,
Oh, sorry.
anyone got any pages within the policy? Otherwise I'll go to the back of it. All good? Okay, where next page is 160, the housing strategy. 161, 162, 163, 164, and
186.
my page, please. Did you say 187?
186.
186.
Go to
186.
that. That's it.
Yeah, so just 187, just a typo which is being fixed by Janelle on point 21.18 on page 187. Oh no, sorry, 21.17.
Sorry, I'm not.
Sorry, yeah, there was just a correction for the removal of the trees on 39 Little Wombat Street. There just needed to be inclusion of the dead trees, the dead Aleppo tree, as well as the tree that's the Aleppo tree.
So
that's
that
got
was
nickel.
moved as a recommendation at
Yes.
the meeting?
Yeah, and it was just omitted, the dead tree was
And
omitted.
they haven't put it
Yeah,
in?
yeah, it
Yeah,
was omitted.
it was moved at the meeting.
Yeah, it was
That's
moved at
how
the
it's
meeting.
moved. So
With
that's
the
just a
dead
correction to the minutes?
Yes, which
And
Chanel's
you've
done.
already corrected that, have
Yes.
you?
Yeah.
That's
But
fine,
just-
that will show up
Thank
as we
you.
go through.
Mm.
Because we can't change
No,
minutes.
no.
Okay, 190, 191,
Just a question with 191.
191. One 192, 193, 94, 195, general manager. That's all, they'll go confidential. Starting on page 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Councillor Lawrence, 13, 14, 15,
Please.
15, 11,
Yeah, we've had it high.
17, that takes that right through
28.
to
28.
I'll have 28, thanks.
Yeah,
28.
28, Jen. That really
So,
nice.
did you have a query on that, Lauren?
Yeah,
20.
28.
28?
Jenny's got that.
Jenny's already got
Oh.
28, so it's withdrawn, you'll be able to talk
Yep.
to
Yep.
29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35,
35, please.
35.
Yes,
Please, yeah,
page
just
35.
something, yeah, we brought up.
It starts on page 33,
Just a typo.
Councillor Duggan,
Typo.
so
Thank you.
it's all right, we'll take it from the beginning of the
Yes.
matter. Okay. Next one is 39,
Can we have 36, please?
39 is.
36 as in page 36.
Yeah, it's, yeah, it's,
Is that you, Jen?
yeah, it's
Yep.
a 10 down 36, thanks.
Yep, sorry, and Councillor Herbert,
39.
yep. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54,
54, yeah. Take that whole section.
Yep. Put that one up.
55, 56, 57, 58, 59. That's it, and we will deal with the supplementaries in their totality. Yeah, declarations, has everyone put their declarations in? They're all up there.
Thank you.
That's what's on there. Is there any further? I mean, that's your responsibility, so make sure that you put them up, because I don't have to necessarily ask for them if you don't disclose them, because we've already got the disclosures. Okay, moving on, Councillor Webb.
Thank you. Through you to the Director of Corporate Services, if I may. I'm not understanding the status. We're talking about participating in an accessibility audit, and then the status is one quote has been received regarding the audit, and then continuing on with something in November. So I just don't understand what's context that is in. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. I can respond to that. Through you, Madam Mayor. Obviously, the DIAP, we did a DIAP
back in 2017, which is our latest DIAP. One of the action items left over from that was this particular...
Hey, DIAP, would you mind telling everyone what DIAP is?
Oh, sorry. This is Disability Inclusion Action Plan.
I know it is.
So we've had a project to review the 2017 DIAP. One of the action items that came out of the 2017 DIAP is the action item you have in front of you, which was that the Mayor draft a letter inviting motels to participate. We've re-actioned the DIAP process with the aim of having a DIAP done and dusted and signed off by November 2023. So obviously part of that process will be to re-action this particular item from the last DIAP.
Thanks, Steph.
Does that answer your question? It's sort of an indirect way of responding to this particular outstanding item from the last DIAP process.
I was just when you say one quote has been received, I don't understand.
Yes. So what we're doing for the DIAP, we're getting we're doing a few things. We're reviewing the actual document. We're also employing an auditor to come in and audit the suitability of certain council buildings for disability inclusion. And one of the quotes for this particular audit has been received. We're seeking further quotes before we go out and do that audit.
Thank you. They're sort of slightly the same but slightly different answering the question, so thank you. Yes.
There will be a report
to the November council meeting, which will show actions against our current DIAP. And in that report, we can also probably give you a quick update of the status of what we're doing in the new revised one.
Thank you. And the next one is to the Director of Planning and Growth, if I may. Madam Mayor, just an update, is that still going on or has it near completion or what's going with?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Webb, that is still in conveyance, so we've been having conversations with the applicant to progress the sales contract. So we were seeking of them some advice who their preferred solicitor was going to be for our solicitor to engage with. So I got a text earlier as recent as today we'll be in contact with the purchaser. So we should see some further progression in the next couple of years.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And just so that we make sure we note that we have put item number 5 into part 2 on the basis of commercial and confidence. Go forward, and Councillor Burdance.
Oh, sorry. Just on that economic development meeting we had there, that's going back 3.5 years now with this one. So any progress, or can we get an update on where we're going with that, Lady Mayor?
Yeah, sure. Through you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Ruling, so this is in regards to the subdivision up at the Homemaker Centre. The minimum plans have been prepared, the land surveyor has been and placed all the pegs on site. I don't know if you've seen lately, but there's what they call the candy canes there, which are the star pickets with the PVC wrapped around it that signifies there's a survey peg on the ground below. So that's the updated survey design and layout that Bunnings have requested. We had previously provided them with subdivision plans that they were holding off signing until we updated them. So that work has now been done. We've forwarded those plans onto them and we wait for that signature. So we've been gently requesting and asking for them to be signed for a good while now. And it's probably the time that I ask the question again, I would say.
That'd be very nice, actually. Thank you.
It's 3 years and 8 months old. I want you to all keep that in your mind when we come to an item in our confidential section. So that's how long that sale has taken because of the slower with the Bunnings signing off on the subdivision. Okay, Councillor Fardiana.
Is this 18?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has that been actioned as yet, the loan for the, or taken up by the Sports and Rec?
Stefan?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, we are in constant contact with the Sport and Rec Club. They're still finalising some legal issues on their side before we enter into the loan. But we have made that offer to them, and we're just in the process of getting all the documents drawn up, and we're waiting for one final feedback from the Sport and Rec Club.
Thank you.
And the next one?
Could I, just 20?
Yep.
No, 19.
19.
Oh, yes. Okay. Can I ask a question with the bins in Mars Lane? Obviously, there's one complaint that has obviously been in. Been a bit of an issue with the bins apparently outside their window. He is saying that he didn't get notification that that was happening. So I'm just wondering, could you just give us a bit of feedback on what you're proposing to address that issue, please?
Absolutely. So through you, Madam Mayor, as you're aware, Councillor Caradiana, this is an ongoing issue. The matter of the bins in Mars Lane predates this existing council. It goes back to the previous council. There's been extensive public consultation through the near on 5 years that this has been going on. Councillor Roylance and myself went down to Mars Lane yesterday and spoke to the individual that had the complaint. We were also intercepted while we were there by a couple of other business owners in the joiner lane, and they provided some positive feedback with regards to the bin bays. It's come to a head because the bin bays were the final 5 of the bin bays were installed over the last couple of days. There was an issue with a gas meter location conflicting with one of the bays. We've resolved that. There were some issues associated with the injection of a damp-proof course, and we've resolved that. And yes, there is an issue with the bin bay being located below a kitchen window. The kitchen area adjoins immediately to the outside of the laneway. What we are asking business owners in the area to do is, if they can, put the bins inside their property. Where they can't, they can go in the lane in the bin bays. So I guess that being a kitchen, they're not going to store their bins in the building. So their only choice really is to have it in the bin bay. So regardless of whether the bin bay was there or not, their bins would be in the lane. So we are trying to resolve that issue for them. There's a few more things that we can look at. And I'll probably have a bit more of a report to provide to you next month after we do some of these investigations.
Could I ask the bin bays, yeah, obviously the red bins are smelly bins, the green bins are smelly bins, but quite often the yellow bins, you know, cardboard and bottles and cans and so on. I mean, is there bays, and could you put the yellow bins in a location that was less smelly, of course, might be suitable for that, might solve the problem? Is that?
Yeah, certainly. Through you, Madam Mayor, that's a very good suggestion and a very workable suggestion. There's 2 things to keep in mind in doing that. If you congregate the yellow bins in one location, you might disadvantage the people at the far end, because they'll have to come all the way from that end of the lane and bring all their recyclables up to one end. So we could resolve that. We could probably put a mixture throughout, but yes, there's a chance to do that. The other thing as well to keep in mind is, in the CBD, red bins are collected every second day. So it's Monday mornings, Wednesday morning, and Friday morning. So the incidences of them being particularly smelly, like you would find at home in your residence, would be completely different.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yeah.
would you mind if I pulled out 20?
I
The
would.
20's already pulled out.
Oh, sorry.
Councillor Duggan.
And man, just a question, is that a commercial kitchen or just a normal kitchen?
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's an excellent question, Councillor.
I just missed that question, I'm
Yes, so
sorry.
did I.
Councillor Matisky asked if it's a commercial kitchen or a private residence kitchen. I don't know, because there's no application before council.
Yeah, it's just a kitchen, I was just wondering.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Duggan.
Through you, Madam Mayor, could we just have an update through Director of Planning on what's happening at Pit Stop there, please, if we've got anything at all yet?
Yeah, absolutely. Through you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Duggan, so I guess as you guys are aware from our previous discussions around Pit Stop, we are moving through to the redevelopment of the site. We are undertaking investigative works currently to address any of the previous uses of that site, so people will be aware of what the previous uses are. And obviously there's also some asbestos or fibro material in the old part of the building that needs to be addressed as well. So we're addressing those issues to make some further assessments as to what we do moving forward. We are in the process of providing or developing the stakeholder engagement plan, which will go out to the community, which hopefully provides them all the answers to the questions that they've no doubt got, because they've seen the fence go up and they're probably thinking, what is council going to do there and what is the forward plan? So that's not far away from being released publicly, but it'll come to you guys prior to that happening.
So I've got a report.
Through
Through you, Madam Mayor, just to the Director of Planning and Growth, just regarding the contractors. So was there going to be contractors for demolition? How's that process going?
Yes, so through you, Madam Mayor, yes, Councillor Willis, that is correct. That's one of the options we are looking at the site. Again, that would form part of the stakeholder engagement plan in as far as what the forward direction or proposal is for the site. Any contractor, if the building was determined to be demolished, would go through our standard and normal procurement process. So we have a very...
So that hasn't started yet?
No. I think you're right though. There is advertisements in the paper calling for tenders, and again, that is to inform us as to which way we're going.
Beautiful.
With this.
Thank you.
Just could I have a question, very on 20 also, please? We did extensive community consultation on the refurbishing the actual building. Where does that leave us now, as far as now we've supposedly changed our mind? Where does that leave us now with all that community consultation we did with that site prior?
The use hasn't changed. None of the use has changed. The use hasn't changed.
I don't want to go into detail too much, but obviously the building is getting knocked down, and then it was the building that we were supposedly refurbishing with the community consultation. It's just hard for councillors to be able to go and address the community, a few months ago, where we've told them that this is happening, and now we have a whole new scenario. Yeah. And it just leaves us as councillors wondering, well, we can't address the public on this new outcome. So
yeah, it's a good point, Councillor Gradiano, and I'll take that one up for you. As the Director of Planning and Growth has indicated, we will be doing extensive investigations on the site there, because its prior use was one of a service station, and underground fuel tanks may be causing us a problem.
Okay. So there's a reason.
Well, there's more than one reason. There's the content. I'm with you. What we thought was going to be an easy fix, because the kitchen could have just been a little bit of a touch up and been able to turn it into the use that we thought it would be. The building has got a lot more asbestos in it than we thought. It's not fit for purpose because the floor levels are all over the shop, and it's not an all abilities access type building. And so what we need to do is we need to get the prices back from demolition contractors so we can consider our options. That doesn't mean we will let the tender. That will come to council, of course. So that we need to have all of this investigation stuff done, because it is an old site that could bring with it more problems than we first anticipated. So, as Matt has already said, the community will be informed once we get all of that information, and councillors will get that information before we go back to the community.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Madam.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get a report through our part one in our council papers, so that it's common knowledge out there. Okay, Councillor Ronan.
Thank you, Lady Mayor. Just a question on the heated pool, and I'll just say that I've never seen so many cranky people in our community on this pool. And they attack me all the time. I'm pretty sure all the councillors are copying this.
Absolutely.
We've been giving them dates for going back probably to last year sometime. This month's going to be finished. The last one we heard was going to be December, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen at this stage. But anyway, we can get an update and see where we're going with that.
Just before we do that, Madam Mayor, may I request, so that we can have a candid conversation, that we do the same as item 5, we move this one into conference.
Happy to do that.
I second that.
Good idea.
Is that based on a commercial?
Yeah. Commercial in confidence.
Commercial interest.
Okay.
I'm happy to do that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's been moved by Councillor Ronan, seconded by Councillor Duggan. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, I declare it carried. Councillor Ronan.
Thank you, Lady Mayor. Just an update on where we're going with this walk of fame. I don't know. I think I've been doing this for 20 years. I think I'm not too sure, but
I reckon the flood might be a problem.
Yeah, the flood's
the flood's definitely a problem. But
have you spoken to God?
we've spoken a couple of times about where we're going to put this, and it's in this main street. Or yeah. So have we actually? I said we've got that minute there. I just can't remember that one. But Yeah, it's an update of what we're going to do.
Through you, Madam Mayor, a very good question, Councillor Ruiz, and I can attest to you being on this job for about 20 years. So something you raised in your days as one of the key organisers for Australia Day, and it's an important part of our community. And I really firmly believe that the recognition of our very important people and the people who have served this community so well. So for that reason, I do have a strong passion about seeing this delivered. So at the moment, there's 2 resolutions. One is to develop the foreshore minimal visual impact policy, which our planning department is working on at the moment. That'll come back to next month or the month after's council for review and adoption. But also there is with regards to the location of the Walk of Fame. So I guess from my point of view, we have been looking for other options, but that doesn't still take away that the option at the area in front of Bandon Street is still in the Lake Forbes activation plan. It's really the feedback I think I've got from the councillors at the time a few months ago was it could go there, but it needs to be a low slung type of improvement. So, there was talks about in the paving on the walkway or having small plinths on a meandering walkway, not so much visual impact with landscaping. So again, the concept is to have it in this location, but how it actually details out, we haven't got to that point yet. If there's a desire to have us actually design it, so we all know, then we could action that. Richard's got some very good designers. We've got also some contract people who've been working on stuff in the Lake Forbes activation plan as well that we could potentially start to look at what that looks like. So I guess we're in your hands as to how you want to progress it. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does actually. Just across the road from where that is, that we were discussing, Margaret Miller lived across the road from there. She's one of our famous residents and a very early recipient of Citizen of the Year. So I think it'd be a good spot. I think it was Councillor Webb said we should be putting downtown, but I'm sort of with both things. I'm probably in the same camp. Downtown's pretty good, but there, and maybe if we did put it there, we can put a QR code in with all those people, and that'll give us some information. But
Yeah.
that's something we should be putting in place.
So, Serena, I'm just
Hang on,
sorry.
could you just wait 1 second? Can I just administratively say there are 2 Lake Forbes Shore development resolutions, they need to be put together. So could I get you to make a note, Janelle, to put item 35 and 80 together?
Yep.
Okay, Councillor.
Thank you.
Look, it was just a comment through you, Madam Mayor, that, something that's low visual impact and low maintenance, like we don't need to be developing things where Stefan's going to be having...
Councillor, I'm just going to remind you all,
Right.
we are asking for updates on matters in progress. We are not giving advice and redebating and deciding what we're going to have, where we're going to have it. So I want you all to stick to the rules on matters in progress. It is to ask questions and get updates.
Thank you.
If we get away with it, though, we will.
Yeah, but you won't get away with it, so we'll move on. Councillor Cradiana.
What number am I at?
You are
39.
39.
Sorry.
Legal advice, fair age.
Oh, yes, leave. Yeah, just a query, where are we up to with this at the present? Has there been any formal meeting?
It's coming up.
It's
We've
coming
had
up.
trouble getting the date because
Okay.
of their work commitments.
Okay, I was just trying to get some feedback on how things were going, that was all.
Yeah, I'll have a look at the diary and let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Willis.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just update regarding the licence on Dirigilby Go-Kart Reserve. Thank you. How's the...
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Willis, we have been discussing with the individual that was keen to, or is keen to reactivate the Dirigilby Go-Kart track, and those discussions are progressing. Not to the point of opening the track up at this point. I also am aware as well that there is an adjoining landowner that is looking to object to that. So there may be more to come in this regard, I guess, in the future. So I'll keep you guys updated as I know more. But after the process of the EOI went out, and the determination was made for the go-kart track, I think that led somebody to be a little bit cautious about that use. Understanding that the auto sports are right next door, so obviously there's noise and dust and all that sort of stuff already out there, but perhaps this is closer to a residence than someone was happy to accept.
Could I ask a query on the back of that, please, Madam Mayor? The query, there was a lot of tyres and debris and different, is it still in that shape or has it been cleaned up at all?
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's the same shape as it has been for the
For
last
many years.
8 years or so.
Yeah.
So I think when the previous go-kart committee wrapped up, the site really hasn't been used for anything since then. So it's just fallen into a series of or state of dilapidation and disrepair.
Yeah, okay, so I guess is it council's responsibility to tidy that site up at some stage or depending on how this goes?
We're the Crown Reserve manager for the site. Typically speaking, we would probably act on inquiry from the public. If I know there's been horses and things in there in the past that probably kept the vegetation down, but if somebody said it needs cleaning up, I think we would probably end up investigating.
Tidying it up at some stage. Thank you.
Councillor Dunn.
Through you, Madam Mayor, can you just advise us if the AGM date has been set down for the rugby club so that then we can post that, have a meeting in respect?
They haven't let us know.
They haven't, there are.
So that's just a matter of our Director of Planning both chasing it.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, I know the date. The date is the 3rd of November is when they're having an AGM. So we're eagerly awaiting that because we need to finalise some grant funding for the female inclusion change groups and also have a conversation with them about redevelopment of the clubhouse. So,
Fantastic.
My understanding is the the president is looking to outgo, so there'll be a new president coming, that's why it's important to have the AGM.
So that's something that we could perhaps do end of November, early December, perhaps. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Willits.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Richard? Or not sure. Just regarding an update on the progress of the Sheriff Street parking, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Willis, I'll have to take that on notice, I'm sorry, because I'll have to chase that one up myself and I'll get back to you.
And can I just say, it would be good because it's quite dangerous, that area.
If I can just note that is not timely when there is no update and the signs are ordered and delivery expected by the end of June 2022, we need to have a notation in there as to why that hasn't happened. So could you just make a note of that, if you don't mind?
I only got hit there yesterday.
Okay, Councillor Willis. 84.
84. So we organisation. Our workshop. Can we please get
We organise that.
date?
Yeah, we are. We're in the throes.
On our workshop. I didn't know it was going to be
We,
vinyl. I didn't know it was going to be vinyl.
Councillor Willis, thank you for the question, and we're anticipating to have the workshop in the October briefing session. If we've got all of our ducks in a row, we've had some final discussions with the likes of the union and internally with staff, so hopefully it will go to October, and then I've informed the Mayor it'll probably go to the November meeting.
Yeah, it can do either, either. We can go right through to December. We weren't declared until the 19th or 20th. So we've got this period of time.
Oh, okay.
So it's not an issue. The important thing about having the workshop is to have a presentation, more importantly for you new guys, as to what the present structure is. Because you need to know what we've got now as to what changes may happen. That's the important
And that's
thing.
what
And that's what the General Manager's going to do. We have sorted a date out because it is long weekend in October. 31st. The 31st of October. It's a Monday. Okay. Councillor Cradiana, Forbes Auto Sports Club.
No
No,
86.
Councillor Roy.
Oh, sorry,
No,
did I
Councillor
not?
Rawlings.
Oh,
And I think I sent
sorry,
you.
you're on the bottom of the page.
I was on the bottom. I think I sent you an email on that too about that structure of the.
Yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
right.
I forwarded on, didn't I? I forwarded on.
Can't remember that bit.
Yeah, I did.
So,
I said we have to organise, that's what we organised.
so just on item 86, just the vampire jet. Now I appreciate it's underwater. I get all that. What's the future of this this aircraft? What are we looking at doing?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Roylance. It's a great pleasure to provide an update on the de Havilland aircraft jet. So, yes, you're correct, it is underwater. It has been probably for the last couple of weeks. Importantly, council staff ensured that the fence and the scaffold was able to withstand any inundation of floodwaters. That's the reason why it wasn't moved. And bearing in mind too that it's supporting the fuselage of the jet at this point in time as well. The community may have seen that the front forward cockpit section has been stripped in sections. The canopy is off. What I can say is that the area inside the cockpit is largely damaged due to 50 years of being up in that area, and it has had weather impacts in the cockpit. So the canopy being off is not really affecting anything as far as rain getting into that cockpit. The idea is about 300 or 400 kilos of instrumentation and forward gear and landing gear wheels, both in the cockpit and under each wing. So we are trying to lighten the load and the, I guess, the stress on the structure. So we're going to remove a lot of that instrumentation. The ejector seat is still there, that will be removed. The idea is that will go to the museum. That would, as I say, reduce the load on the cockpit. Our staff have been talking to local fabricators. They're fabricating ribs to go from a existing anchor plate out to where the landing gear
On the wing?
Yeah, well, no, not on the wing. On the landing gear section on the nose cone, there's some structure in there that's quite bulky. So they're going to put a series of ribs all the way around that forward cockpit, remove the weight out of it, reskin it, and then repaint it. Bob's your uncle. So that all gets done on site. They've been using
On the pole?
On the pole.
Okay.
And that's the importance of the scaffold, is that it can all happen there. So when the floodwaters recede, the community will start to see more action on that. And it's been a bit of a slow process, but there's been a few punctuations of delays and stops and starts. So
excellent. Thank you.
Can you imagine
Just
trying to
very easy to
store that?
remove. Just press the button.
Pull the button.
It's not a hanger big enough.
007.
That was riveting. Thank you very much, Sharon.
Hey, I've got to tell you, that was riveting. Thank you.
Well, I didn't
We're
know
a very, very select few. That's the
I think someone nudged me to wait.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Gradiano's got the floor, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just query with the Ford Auto Sports Club. We, at the spur of the moment, we dished out $5,000 to assist the club. I'm just wondering, could we get some feedback what that meant to the community as far as numbers? What's that word? That feasibility, or what's the right word for it? When
Satisfaction, maybe.
when you get when you've spent
The cost benefit
$5,000
back to the community.
and what it means to come back to
You want
to
a
come back
medal
to the
from them.
community as far as patrons attending the town, motels and so on. So are we able to get a report or something back from that? Is that Stefan? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Stefan.
You're just sitting there, Matty. That's the trouble. Stefan, are we
Yeah,
able
that won't be a problem. It's obviously not our event, but I'm sure we can talk to the event organisers and get some information back to you if we don't already have it already. But we'll dig that up.
just what it meant economically to the community and to the town and so on. So when we make decisions like this, I lay in bed at night and I think, well, gee, that come out a good decision, or maybe we should have put a bit more thought into that in the future.
What's the return on our investment?
Well, councillors, we have a product, a tool that we use called REMplan,
Yes,
and we'll run that numbers through REMplan and it'll generate a report for you.
that'd be great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Can I actually just make a mention on that, because I attended that as a parent, grandmother and counsellor, and that I didn't ride, but it was really well attended. I think your report, you'll be a bit more than happy with it. They did a lot of camping out at the track because there's provision there, and they also bus people into town for food of a night, and so it was very well supported. The committee is quite mindful of any of the sponsorship that they do a payback with that, and I've also sort of said to them about community funding to apply for that in times of year to do it for ongoing. Because they were so successful, they'll probably get it back here again.
Isn't that good?
Thank you. Councillor Duggan, Containment 95.
Oh, I'm up again.
You're up again.
Right, yeah.
You're going to have sore legs today instead of me.
Oh, look, can we just have an update? I would, through you, Madam Mayor, can we just have an update as to whether we've got any pricing on that, sizes, colours, all the important things, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Through you, Madam Mayor. Can I suggest, Councillor Duggan, we break this into two parts. I'll give you an update of what's been going on down there last weekend and moving forward in a temporary fashion. But if I can give you the update of the procurement of the container in part two, that's probably
That'd be great.
So what we'll do, we'll move the whole thing because it is commercially in confidence into part two. Being moved by Councillor Duggan, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried. And you can just note that is commercially in confidence. And that's the reason.
Excuse me, Mayor. Am I allowed to slip in 94 for a question?
Yeah, no.
Sorry. Through you, Madam Mayor, to...
it's in progress.
It's in progress, yeah. Just an update on whether on this electric vehicle charging station application and whether we have had any success or what's happening. Are we seeing some EV chargers on the ground soon?
Stefan?
Stefan or Matt? Stefan or Matt, sorry.
It is in progress. Hopefully we'll hear something soon. There's been a lot of discussion about EV chargers. Hopefully we'll hear something soon. I probably don't have anything to add from my end.
Thank you. Councillor
Willis, 98.
98. Just wondering, has there been any grants come up that have been applied for in the pipeline that you're anticipating that we might be able to apply for this?
Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Willis. I guess the grants team are actively looking for suitable grants for the dog park. I'm not aware that there's anything that's come up that's been suitable so far, but we do understand and have heard the community's desire and need for this to happen sooner rather than later. So
yes,
it certainly hasn't been filled.
Okay, thank you.
50 minutes, so the next one. Yeah, this
Councillor Webb.
I'd like to move the recommendation as is.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by Councillor Rylance.
So I have a question either to you, Madam Mayor, or to our Director of Public Services. So the only thing that we look like, not forecast, not being positive is our asset renewal ratio and on our assets. And most of it is to do with the water treatment plant. So can we apply for grant funding for these sort of big projects?
Yes.
So if that was a funded project, then it would look positive, correct?
But we haven't got the funding.
No, we don't, but I'm just wondering, is it something that can be funded?
It needs a notation in this. I'm going to get to jump in. There is funding for renewal of sewer treatment plants and water plants. We have got a water plant that did not have pricing structure that was to replace it. It was already 25 years old when pricing structures came in, when we had to start to have user pays. So we will definitely get funding. And I mean, that's been ongoing. Everyone gets funding, don't they? So I know you've got to report it like this, but there needs to be a note to say that council, at the time of replacement, that we will be applying for funding.
Because everything else looks healthy except for that one little area, and I'm just wondering, I know other
That's the
councils have
reason.
been very proactive and have been given funding, so I'm just wondering, because we're a growing population and we can do all that sort of fancy work behind the scenes, it is possible. Thank you.
So,
Through Madam Mayor, yes, there is. When you look, a lot of the details towards the end of the document discuss our plans in relation to the water treatment plan, the replacement of the water treatment plan. So the asset renewal ratio for the water fund does look low. The reason that looks low is because we're going to be spending $40–50 million in the next 30 years to replace that plant, but that amount does not appear as part of that asset renewal ratio calculation. If you were to back the water treatment plant out, the asset renewal ratio for the water fund is actually very close to 100%, and that's noted further down in the details of the document. So maybe it's a good point that we put that up the front, but there is pricing methodologies and funding methodologies discussed within the document on how we will move to replace that plant in 2045, including applying for grants, including possible loan funding, etc.
Thank you.
so it's been moved and seconded. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye.
So, quick question. This goes out, this amendment and all that. So this is just a draft at the moment.
No.
Yes,
Long-term financial
that is
plan?
correct.
It is just a
And
draft.
if you adopt this, it becomes our long-term financial plan for this year. This is going to be a moving document. Every year, we review this document internally previously and add the numbers internally. What we're supposed to, we had a document in 2011. We will update this document as part of every year's budget process going forward, because obviously things change. We get more grants, we get less grants, we have higher capital works programs, so these numbers will be reviewed and it will be placed on our website with our other IPNR documents.
We are adopting the long-term financial plan for the next
That's what I was-
2022
yes,
to
thank you,
2031 into our strategic and operational control.
Yeah.
But what Stephanie's saying is each year we will relook at it and make sure it's still relevant.
It's a living document.
Yeah. I know it takes longer to say it than me, but that's what will happen on an annual basis.
Say one, yes, sorry.
Okay, I'm going to put it. All those in favour say
Aye.
aye. I declare it carried.
66.
Yeah, Jenny, 66.
Councillor Webb. I've got some helpers today.
You have, through you, Madam Mayor, I'd also like to ask the Director of Corporate Services 2 questions. So we got lots of funding for our multi-purpose equestrian area, but then we are applying, I see, for a strategic marketing plan for the multi-purpose functions. So are we going backwards? I'm not quite sure what that entails when we've already got this bucket of money to build one. So that's one question. You can answer that one first.
Yeah. I'll answer that one first. Through Madam Mayor, we can't market our equestrian centre until we've built it. So basically we're developing a marketing plan. So once the equestrian centre is built, then we can actually market it.
Rightio. So we're applying for something that we haven't got as yet.
We
haven't built it or done anything yet.
We've got the
Yeah.
funding for the equestrian centre.
Yes.
And the equestrian centre is going to be built. What we're doing now is applying for funding to do a marketing plan for that going forward.
Rightio. The next question, I'm all about roads and bridges and all that sort of stuff, and you know I bring it up every time.
Yes.
So technically, or not technically, we have applied for flood money previously, which we still, I believe, haven't got.
We've got it. We've got $6 million sitting and we can't spend it at this point in time.
No.
So do we definitely have that?
Yes,
Rightio.
that's from the last flood.
From the last flood.
We will have more money from this flood.
I know. So then we've got another pool of money that could be coming in, correct? So can we retrospectively, because the government of today is saying that we can apply for betterment funding, and the Prime Minister also said that the other day. Our government is all about betterment, so I'm just wondering, can we retrospectively ask for betterment for that first pool of money that we've got?
No. I'll answer it for you. No, you can't. Betterment is a real political nightmare. Matt and Councillor Roylance the other day actually told Don Perrottet that if I was sitting in the car, I'd be saying we need betterment. We're hoping there will be some form of announcement that there will be some betterment. So, for instance, one of the really important betterments we need is the 17 mile or kilometre
21.
and the 21.
1 mile and the
We
dog
need to
park.
raise that above flood level because that is how people get isolated. So we know that every time we repair that road, it's going to go under again. It's the first area that goes under. It blocks us off from Condobolin and makes it difficult for the Pajerabong people. So we are waiting on some form of announcement on betterment.
So there was a betterment funding announcement, and I can't remember which council just got it previously with flooding, and it was
The isolated councils will get something for betterment. You'll get it, but it's not part and parcel of disaster funding at this point in time. I'm right on that.
It has to be nominated.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, through Madam Mayor. The situation, it certainly was a few years ago, is that betterment was tacked on to the end of all of the funding in the entire pool. So they would work out all the flood damage and issue it to the various councils, and whatever was left could go to betterment. And generally speaking, that was done.
Certain areas here and there and everywhere. Yeah. Is that up? So we haven't won that yet. Yes.
So I'd like to move the recommendation as
Thank you. I'll
It's
second it.
been moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by Councillor Willis. Do you want to say something, Councillor?
Yeah, just on the equestrian centre. Do we have a plan put in place for that? What it's going to look like at this stage? And we're still working on that one.
The plan for the shed is as per the application for the grant, so basically it's a shed on a pad. The actual location of it is something that we're still in consultation with the horse and livestock groups out there. We just need to have an understanding of their requirement for stock movement to get trucks in to deliver things like, for argument's sake, rodeo need to deliver their rodeo cattle and camp draft, as against horses that would come in afloat. The cattle would come in trucks. So we're very close to having that meeting, but we're still going out for tenders to build the shed because we know how big the shed has to be. And we're also looking at the fellow that was here earlier today, Tom, that you met. We'll be working on this project to produce the base. Because there's so many groups involved and they all have different requirements as far as the footing is concerned for the type of activity that they undertake, what the most ideal situation is, and we've taken some guidance from Blaney and from Warren councils because they own two large equestrian centres, is that we will have a table, as they call it, like this. There will be a solid base, well raised, so that it would be not subject to any inundation in surrounding areas and weather like we've got now. And these actual groups would either place themselves or preference would be engage council to place the footings of sand or whatever that particular medium is going to be. Some places they're using synthetic at the required depth. For argument's sake, the rodeo people don't need it to be, and you would know this, they don't need it to be as deep as what the show jumpers want it. The cutting horse people need it to be extra deep because of the action on the horses. So the best thing to do for one multi-function centre to be able to suit all those different groups is for us to have the base, the roof, and have the footing be able to be movable.
Thank you. Can we get a look at that design before it goes out? Or was it
The design
very far away? Yeah.
So you can see it now, I think.
Oh, we have it now.
We have a three-dimensional design prepared.
I don't think we've ever seen it, so it might be
Beautiful.
I haven't seen it. Do you have your Steve? Did you see it?
Just, am
Before
I
a brief
allowed
on
to ask
Yeah, you
a query,
can.
please? Could you, because I've been approached, some of the user groups are confused about the actual size of the actual building. So could somebody tell me in metres exactly what the size of the building is?
Look at the plan, my guy.
Through you, Madam Mayor, my understanding is it's 70 metres by 90 metres. I could be wrong, could be a little bit out, but I'm pretty sure. Does that sound right?
60 metres.
60
metres by 90 or 60 by 80. It's 60 metres wide.
90 metres long.
Yeah, if that's right, they're very happy.
So what we might do is, if you can just get someone, even if you could make a text, and get someone to print off that 3D thing, and we'll get it distributed to you this afternoon. So if you do get asked,
Thank you.
you know what the size is, you know what it's going to look like, and we
That'll
can
be
start
good.
to
Very
answer
good.
questions.
Yep,
You
thank
happy
you very
with
much.
that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried. Councillor Duggan.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I would like to just make an amendment, a slight amendment to the recommendation, and that being item 2 is to appoint 2 of the community events representative, and they being those 2 nominees, mainly because we've struggled to get some members on this committee, and just to have one extra over and above what we first said would be handy. Plus, it would be advantageous to have 2 of those young people who we know that, number one, they're younger and they're very proactive within the community. Because a few of the others on the
So we should be naming these people in this recommendation.
the first one is Amy Shine and the second one is Alex Milsom.
Yes, so
in respect to
we
community.
can we pop those names in?
Please. Yep.
So that it's clear.
Yep.
And Alex, and appoint a caravan park representative.
Who I believe is Brett Bell at the top. I'm unaware of who he is, but
Brett Bell.
Ding dong.
So you can take the first part of that out, or the consideration. We've made a decision, and we're going to appoint those people. So that's been moved by Councillor Duggan. Is there
Very
a
happy to
seconder?
second that.
Seconded by Councillor Herbert. Any opposition? If not, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried. Okay, Councillor Willis.
3, Madam Mayor. Look, I'd like to just move that recommendation.
Okay, I'll just get you a seconder. The recommendation's been moved. Is there a seconder?
I'm trying to find it.
I'll second that one.
And I would just like...
70. Oh, so the recommendation.
The recommendation is, sorry,
Right
what
up here,
page is
there's
that?
lots of pages.
90, isn't it?
Well, just let's look at it before you talk to us, please.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's page 90. The council received a note, the Community and Tourism Report for September 2022.
Pages, second.
Okay, so we have also got another councillor that has withdrawn part of that, so that's you now.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been moved by you, seconded by Councillor Clark. Okay, you can speak to it now, Councillor Willis.
Look, I'd just like to say, well, firstly, thank you to the Manager of Community and Tourism, a great report. And I'd also like to just compliment Mel Sutter, I always say her name, Sutter, I always say, I apologise, Mel. And I think it's Police Officer Greer. I attended the showing of the movie That's Not Be a Statistic at Parks, at the Pavilion of Cook Park, and I'd just like to congratulate them, the group involved with making that movie, and that was school students and numerous community members were engaged in making that movie. And I was just wondering if we could have that made available to councillors. It does go...
I don't want to see it.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. But I think, can we have it made available to us? And I would also like to say the Wiradjuri Day was fantastic, and the Maranguk game, unfortunately I couldn't stay to watch it, but just like to congratulate council involvement in these events. Thank you.
Councillor Duggan, you have withdrawn.
Yeah, there's a couple of items in that report. The first one being the grazing down the Lachlan. As you know, we did a 3-way for the breakfast on a Sunday morning. I did send everyone our report from that, from the business chamber point of view, who managed part of that, and that you would have had the recommendation from that moving forward with the breakfast too there. So if there's any questions to be asked about, can that go maybe to part 2 if anyone does need to ask any questions?
So just tell me where that is.
On page 77, it's just got the grazing down the Lachlan there, halfway down page 77.
Second. Second last
But I did
paragraph.
provide everyone with
A letter.
a report, an email report.
Oh, so did you send that to us?
Yeah,
Everyone?
I
Yes.
didn't get it.
No, I sent it, emailed it to everyone. Anyway, I
I
can get
certainly
them.
haven't got it. So.
My second item, just querying, in with respect to the Elvis Festival, there's those posters, as you see there, have been, three have been distributed to businesses about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I just don't know whether that timeline for advertising that is far too early. It clashes with so many things. I don't know whether we're confusing people with events. People have got Christmas. I mean, we all know Elvis Festival's coming on. I just don't know whether you lose a little bit of impact. Maybe that's something we can just discuss with the events and promotion people like Sarah and Jolene, Nina. I just don't know whether that's 3 to 4 weeks ago that started coming out quite heavily too, not just slowly. So I just don't know whether we need to change the format of that.
Can I also congratulate the Forbes Community NAIDOC Committee? The NAIDOC event was fantastic.
Yeah.
Also the Council Community and Tourism team for bringing that together. From all reports, we were down there and it was great. My staff were down there as well and they had a really good time, really well patronised. And also the congratulations to the youth officer as well. From what I heard, all the holiday events were a massive hit. And yeah, she's done a fantastic job the holidays that have just been. I think she should be congratulated.
Okay. So, do you want to, with the move and the seconder, would you like to add that we acknowledge the wonderful council staff?
Thank you. That would be good.
And that would be Sarah Williams, Jolene and Nina?
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if we could acknowledge the wonderful event staff for coordinating these, and that is Jolene, Nina and
Sarah?
Can I just ask
so if you could
Who's
pop their
our youth
names in, it would be really
coordinator?
lovely. And we need to convey our thanks and appreciation to them.
Christy? Is Christy the
Christy
youth?
Breen is the
And Christy, yeah, Christy.
And I think Mel for the collaboration with the movie was excellent as well.
No,
She's separate, isn't she? She's separate, yeah.
Yeah. So this is, if you, is the mover and the seconder happy with that?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to put it. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, I declare it carried. Now, do you want anything else that you want to say?
That was it was just a question about, through Madam, it was just a question regarding events, you know, when we have weddings and other functions here. How much of our, like say Jolene's time, for example, is taken up with organising these events and assisting brides and people? Like, is that all factored into costs, or is that just like a bit of a in-kind service to?
No,
It's all factored.
Is it in? It's all factored in.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Thank
cost
you.
recovery.
Yeah, I was just checking.
Could I just, please, just a query in relation to this. I was, when was it? A few weeks ago, I was privy to walk past the town hall at the wrong time, and it helped put a structure up to give the boys a hand and show them how to do it.
Because it was windy.
Hey?
It was windy.
It was
It was
raining
windy. But one of the concerns I had on that day, and I still slightly do have a few concerns, that there's no points obviously they can put those structures down to, and sandbags just sat on the ground with a piece of rope hanging off, and I don't think do we have a policy, anything in place to be able to tie these structures down properly, because they're not being tied down properly, unfortunately. They're just a sandbag on the ground. I don't think it's sufficient, and a piece of rope tied off.
I'll tell you what we have done, and I've noticed from experience with the hospital balls, and we would have the big marquees out there. They would go down into our bitumen, and they would put them down, and then they would fix
Is that
it up.
acceptable?
Well, they fixed it up. It was as good as gold when they left. They had
Could
to
somebody
wait-
give us
yeah.
a little bit of a,
Yeah.
because I think it's quite serious. I mean,
Safety.
that looked like it was going to end up down the road at one stage. So.
Well, the alternative is sandbags are not heavy enough, and the alternative is 20 litre drums full of water. you know, the plastic
Yep.
containers, because they've got a handle on the top which is easy to tie to.
Yeah.
And if you
Fill 'em
maybe
up.
sometimes you need to put 2 at each post.
Yeah.
But at least they're not sharp edged. So if a gust of wind did move them, and then they might bruise somebody, but they're not going to cut
Are
them.
we going to need a policy for that?
Well, the policy says safe.
Oh, okay.
And I suppose
So
that
it needs-
that-
needs-
that-
It's
needs
not a
to
general
be-
sorry, okay,
discussion.
sorry.
No,
We
but
didn't
it
open
needs to be, they probably cast their eyes over it. Somebody.
I think on a case by case, the general manager's pretty free with all that kind of thing. So if someone come in with a magnificent big,
Or some big hoppers and that.
a
Like
big one out there,
Browns,
they'd definitely get some advice from the general manager. And we have allowed them to go down into our pavement, and then they fix it up. Our guys, they get our guys to pour a bit of hot mix and whatever you put down it, and it's Bob's your uncle.
Done,
So,
yes, it's been done in the
yeah, I
past.
think it's on a case by case. We can get too prescriptive with a lot of this stuff if we're not
But I guess that is
careful. Yeah.
Thank you.
What's the point? Is it, what,
I
No,
was just saying, it's a good point, like, to bring up about fixing it, yeah. Stick it in the ground, because I remember that's what they did at the ball, it's safe.
Safe.
Safe, that's right.
Yeah, there's one hole in the bitumen outside now where a pig's been.
Don't talk about holes in bitumen or right.
Councillor Clark has the floor.
Can I suggest we go into open discussion, Madam Mayor? I feel like
I've
everyone.
got-
Second that.
Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Roylance, that we go into open discussion. I'll put that, all those in favour say aye, against, I declare it carried. You have the floor, Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Obviously, people know that I put this motion forward in July. I've had quite a few citizens in town ask why the community were actually consulted about where they were going. They were obviously weren't aware of where they are in the town. So I was just thinking that we've not wasted three months doing this, but we could have had this ball rolling a long time ago surely by the 9 of us and the recommendation of council staff on where were a smart idea that we could have made a decision. With the recommendations as well, yes, promote the locations. I think that's a great idea, and even on similar to schools on the doors, have posters around on that business to say they've got them.
That's a good idea.
Again, part 2 of the recommendation, Lions Park, it is flood area. That consideration would need to be if it's removable and flood resistant. Taxi rank, love the idea, think that's great. Bernardi's car park though, Bernardi's and the pharmacy both have one, and I don't see anyone at that car park when the shops are closed. So that's kind of defeats the purpose. These are to be for defibrillators when shops are closed. And I don't see anyone really floating around the Bernardi's car park going to have a heart attack at 10 at night when no one else is there. So I think we need to look at different ideas. But yeah, I think we all have opinions on this.
Right. Councillor Roylance.
Yeah, I've got an opinion on this. It's a pretty good one too, actually. Thank you, Councillor Clark. I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying there. We need to have this so that when everything's closed up, we'll be able to have defibrillators in the street. In the spirit of the motion, it was about Tetler Street, Lockton Street, Rankin Street, that CBD area that we were aiming at. Now, I'd think Councillor Jenny Webb, Councillor Willis, and the doctors and the police and probably the ambulance guys are the people to talk to. I did see that we should have one down on Facebook. We should have one down at the bowling club. Well, I think they can get their own. This is about the community. Yeah, and they have got their own.
Yeah, the Sport and Red Club have got their own.
Yeah, and it's good to see that we've got a little bit of a list now of all the people who've got the defibs. That's a great thing. And there's a hell of a lot more around than what that's on that listing too. I noticed that too. But I agree with you. I think we can actually work out where they're going to go.
Yeah.
That's
Do it now.
Yep.
We'll go in a minute. They have a bit of
Thank you.
Did you want to say anything, Councillor?
Happy to talk to it. So I'm going back quite a few years ago when we didn't have many defibrillators, and I rang every sporting facility and went around all the towns. And council has already, through their community funding, funded a hell of a lot of defibrillators around town. So I mean that's another way that if any other businesses want to go, we can probably help them out as well. But my understanding, I just don't understand. I thought we were looking, correct me if I'm not wrong, I want a defibrillator on a proper stand, is that correct?
Yep.
Yes. So that wouldn't be the 3,000 defibrillators that we're talking that most shops have got. It would be something totally different. So, because they are fairly pricey just for a shop to have. The other thing is promoting their locations. I have tried and I have rung up many places. There's no real dedicated app. It would be lovely if we can try and promote and get somewhere where everyone can put all the defibrillators they want on a certain app. There are multiple apps, but they don't all talk to each other. So it'd be nice to have like an ambulance one as well. And places like council, I mean, not Forbes Council isn't even on this list. And I think we own so many. We own 9, I think. So we're not even part of the organisations where we're listed as having a defibrillator. So I suppose we're talking about a stand-alone defibrillator on a stand, not one of those little pack ones that are in the shops. So it's not 3,000, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. We can discuss where we want them later.
Can I just say, you haven't got time to go look for an app when someone's having a...
No, I know, but it is handy.
We're not debating it, we're all just having a bit of a go. Is there any other discussion? If not, we're going to move back into council. Would someone like to move that we go back into council? By Councillor Matisky and seconded by Councillor Herbert. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried. I just want to make a comment about something that Councillor Clark has said. I was very surprised and gobsmacked that we were actually doing community consultation on these defibrillators. I had no idea we were doing it. I think we've gone overboard with a lot of our consultation. I think some of the things that Councillor Karadiana comes up and says we need to get out there and consult about, yes, that they're good. But when it comes to, you know, these public health kind of things that we're trying to do, I think we were elected by our community to make some very serious, good decisions on things. So if I can just get that noted, that if we're going to do community consultation, we want to be consulted as a council as to what that looks like before we start to do it. So that's just for the staff, if we can just take that on board. Righto, so we've got a motion before us. Bernardi's car park seems to be out. I think you've made that quite clear.
Templar Street,
And Templar Street.
so we can, no, in.
I think Templar Street could be the taxi rank.
Taxi rank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taxi rank.
Yeah, it's in.
Yeah, I think the taxi
The
rank.
busiest point in Templar Street's the middle of Templar Street, about where the
Closing out.
Sunshine Club is.
How long will it take to get there?
Get a taxi. The,
Well, I was being
I don't know.
facetious.
No, I just feel the
I'm
taxi
just thinking
rank.
that the middle of Templar Street is where it's at.
But
No, we're going to get a motion, so sit yourselves down, we've come out of general discussion. So whoever's brave enough to stand up and give me a motion, and we will debate it from there.
That's you, eh?
Oh, he's
Okay, I'll go with 4. For Lions Park to stay, taxi rank on Templar Street, K-Hub on Lachlan Street, and Rankin Street, we will even outside the news agency, somewhere around there. Yep.
Like Mr. Buck said.
All good.
Right.
Yep.
And we'll just put Rankin Street near news agency. Okay, that's been moved by Aidan. Is there a seconder?
Second it. Look.
It's been seconded by Councillor Herbert. Right. Do you want to speak to it? Is there anyone opposing this recommendation? Because if not, we're just going to put it through. Any opposition? No. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried.
Well done, mate. Thank you.
Alright, so we're going.
Councillor Rowlands. Page 113. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, thank you. I've just got a question on the Cairpeel tank. I thought that was to be just demolished. We're now talking about refurbishment and replacement. Did I miss something in that whole program?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Lawrence. That will be a council decision. We haven't got to that stage yet, so our water manager is going out for expressions of interest just to get pricing of all the different options, which will come back to council, because I know there is community spirit about keeping that, so we're not going to make any moves to demolish anything until we get consent from council.
Okay, only question, thank you.
Okay, so you want to move that recommendation?
Happy to move that.
Been moved. The recommendation from 116.
116.
Been moved by Councillor Royland, seconded by Councillor Duggan. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried. Councillor Brett, 129, aye.
118.
Oh,
Maria.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to the Director of Engineering, just a question regarding, do we know whether the showers are going to be gas or electric showers? They used to be gas, and
this is at the heated pool.
This is at the heated pool. At the heated pool, I'm sorry. So. And also too, is there any discussion of getting like solar panels put up there, and probably that would have to be grant funded or something? That's my question. Thank you.
Through Madam Mayor, I'll have to take that one on notice with the heating of the water, because I don't know what the plan is there at this stage. And as for the panels on top, I was talking to our major projects manager only 2 days ago about that, and he told me that the panels that were up there were past the use-by date. So we'll get what we're planning to do finished, and then we'll consider that perhaps as the future budget.
Thank you for that. And I'd like to move the recommendation, which is over here. I haven't got the number of the page, but I'd also like to say
it's been moved by Councillor Willis, seconded by Councillor Roland.
And I'd just like to say thank you for the report, and I just think it's fabulous that we have our first and second home up at Goldridge Estate having the soil turn. I think I've read that with great excitement, and well done, congratulations. It's fantastic news.
I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried. Councillor Baird.
Thank you. I'd like to move the recommendation as is.
It's been moved by Councillor Rick and seconded by Councillor Herbert.
I have a question, please, to the Director of Engineering, if I may, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
So the Boyd Creek Bridge was funded by probably the Bridges Renewal Program, because it's a wooden bridge, correct? So did we do a survey design first so they know exactly how much it was going to cost, or is there just an estimated costing of doing it? And this is going to lead to another question.
The latter. Yeah, we don't have detailed plans as yet.
Because I noticed you're doing one now.
Yes.
So we have to fit in with the amount of money that we've been given. Is that correct?
Yes. And it's the way that we estimate things, and we have discussed this at Manex, is we allow for contingencies that cover things like that. And Boyd Creek Bridge, from my experience, and I've built well over 50 bridges across my career, is quite a good site compared to most. So I think it'll be relatively easy. We'll be able to take that bend out, and we'll build the new one beside the old one, so it stays open while we're building.
So we apply for funding and you estimate what you think it's going to be, and then we come back and do a design. So let's say I want to get 21 Mile Crossing up and running and make it a priority.
Yes.
Well, it's not, but we all say that it is.
Yes.
But it's nowhere on the survey design yet to even look at, is it?
It's on.
Or is it?
It's on our design list, because I put it on there myself.
Yeah.
So, and it's number one on the ones beyond the ones we're currently doing, so it's very high priority. Yes.
But yeah, so when we look at that, it could be culverts, it could be bridges, and there'll be different scenarios for that.
So you just explain, you're talking about 21 Mile out to South Condo Road.
Yes, yeah.
So this is so you all know what you're talking about. 21 Mile and 17 Mile goes under and cuts off the Bajirabong community terribly and us from Condo. So Councillor Rett's asking, is that situated on our works in forward?
Yeah. Forward planning
works?
because we're getting some of our bridges renewed, but because that's not actually a bridge at the moment, we need to apply different funding for it. So I was just wondering whether we've actually started the surveying of those areas so that we can start getting betterment or any funding for those
We haven't
critical areas.
started the physical design and or survey as yet, but it's...
And I just don't want to pick on this one, there are other little areas out there as well, so yeah.
And I'll hand over to Anthony about what happened to cover those. Yeah.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Rowlands and I attended Central New South Wales JO engagement session in Parliament House in Sydney last Thursday. We had great access to a number of ministers. But the one that's most pertinent to this particular subject is Minister Sam Faraway, who is the Minister for Regional Roads. We had an opportunity to engage with him about Strange Bridge, because we've applied to have Strange Bridge funded for replacement 3 times now and been rejected 3 times. And the response has always been that there was too much steel in Strange Bridge. It was built back in the late 40s. It's a truss type Bailey bridge. It's got wooden planks on it, but it's got a 16-tonne load limit on it, and it's a very restrictive thing from a productivity point of view. Interestingly, the Minister came back to us and advised us that we shouldn't be applying under fixing country bridges, we should apply for it under fixing country roads, which belies logic to me. But anyway, he did ask us to write to him. Richard's provided me with all of the details and some photographs, and we've sent that on to Lockie in his office, and we're chasing that up through Minister Faraway. So he was receptive to it, especially from a productivity point of view. But the fixed in country bridges apparently has a high priority on timber content.
Yes.
Okay. So talking about Strange Bridge, can I add something else to the recommendation? Can we have an update on the Wallaroo Bridge? I know it's RMS, but it'd be nice to have an update on where that's progressing as well. Is that okay if I can have a...
It's been funded, hasn't it, Wallaroo?
Just timing, that's all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the weather that's the problem with that.
Thank you.
So is the seconder happy with that? Yeah. Councillor, yes, Councillor.
Can I just ask a question, not on the bridges, but on the Johnny Woods' crossing? It says, as part of that Lake Forbes activation, design is continuing on the Johnny Woods crossing. Potential product for water control gates has been identified, and currently Council is exploring the requirement and limitations for its integration into the design. Haven't we just cleaned that all up?
Through you, Madam Mayor, good question, Councillor. What this is about is, yes, the old elevated walkway for Johnny Woods' crossing has gone.
Which has proven in the last couple of weeks to be a great decision.
Yeah, and hopefully the community recognises that as well.
They do.
But as part of the Lake Forbes activation plan, there was some improvements to be done at Johnny Woods' crossing in that area. One of those improvements is the weir gate at what we would call Lake 2. So if the lake's broken up into different sections, Lake 1's up near the Rotary Dreaming Centre, Lake 2's between Camp Street Bridge and Johnny Woods' crossing. So it's the interface between Johnny Woods' crossing and the upstream lake. So at the moment, the gate on that irrigation, I don't know what you call it, installation, the gate, that's what stops, it's a weir, so it stops the water from going from that portion of the lake to the lower lake in front of Lions Park. That has to be removed with a backhoe. So they've got to close the road, get a backhoe down there and pull that up. It's quite dangerous. It's just the way it's been done all those years because it's literally a irrigation channel gate. So as part of the funding for Lake Forbes activation plan, we said we're going to make this safer and try and have something sort of winch a little bit more area that people are off the road or the council staff are off the road, they don't have to be on the road to activate that gate. And that gate helps to provide water to the ski dam in dry times from the upper lake. It provides conveyance of full lake water when we have an impending high water event, like whether it be a flood or localised stormwater. Or in times of drought, it helps we close it off to try and keep some water in that top end of the lake. So it's a very important installation in the lake network.
Thanks, Matt.
Can I just
understand
say,
how much
can I have a question? My understanding that weren't they made secure to stop people in droughts from actually whooping them up and things like, and to stop the general public from being able to access them easily? So it's not relevant now, it's a drought, it's a flood, but
yeah, through you, Madam Mayor,
to keep the water levels up.
Yeah, there was some examples in the past where the community had not tampered with it, but I think they had.
No, that's the next one down. They did.
Thunderbar crossing.
Yeah.
For the ski dam.
But as long as they're safe.
Well, I think the idea is if that requires a mechanism to open or close the gate, then the general public can't operate that. I mean, the reality is, I know in the past we've locked them off with chains and padlocks, but the public haven't got the dexterity or the strength to be able to lift those gates up. Like if you need a backhoe, the general public
Yeah. So I thought it was probably reinforced to make them safer.
Could I just have a go at this? Is that all right, mate? Just
have a go at this.
At the present, when that gate's down, obviously you don't see it. So if you're going to put a mechanism in there, which is then going to protrude, above the height that we've, already got, is that obviously that's what's going to happen, because you're going to have something to pull up. I mean, then you've got, something that's probably not really eye-catching. Well, it's going to be eye-catching, but it'll probably get a little bit of opposition about. So is that the sort of mechanism you're looking at putting in?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm glad Councillor Ferrariano paid attention in the meeting when this was discussed, because the engineering staff, when they were talking about that, they talked about side slide gates. So it's not always vertical elevation.
Very good.
So we discussed that exact
Thank you, I can sleep tonight.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gee, 'cause funny things keep you awake.
Yeah,
Okay, there's been no further discussion. I'm going to put it. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay, carried. Councillor Willis.
What are you up to?
Quickly,
Good stuff.
Page 138.
You're doing the
How do you move 5 motions?
You finished?
Sorry.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I just would like to move that motion, but I just have
If you're going to move it, I'm going to get a seconder before you start talking.
I'll second.
Been moved by Councillor Willis, seconded by Councillor Majeski. You've got the floor now.
I'd just like to thank you for the report. It's great, good information, very timely. And just a question, with events in villages and vans and things, and I don't know if there's a point of order, but these already, are we able to go out to our villages like Uther and say Garima and Renya, Jerabong, and have some events out there, and obviously utilising this policy, like, and historically, have we had events that have been sponsored by council at our small villages? I'm just asking because I don't know.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to you, Councillor Willis. Look, I'm aware that we would support events certainly at Jerabong with the show and races and things like that. We're already our progress society.
There's lots of places. Yeah, I just wasn't sure.
But
Historically, that's all.
Bearing in mind too, we're going to have our new driver revival van arrives quite soon.
Yep.
This would be applicable to this policy. And it's a community facility, the driver revival van. So if it's not being deployed for driver revival at the time, then there would be an ability and opportunity for somebody to use this, like a community organisation, to use this policy to take that somewhere and provide a service to those outlying communities.
Okay, and anyway, look, that's great. Anyway, any changes to the policy that encourages innovation and inclusion is very welcome. Thank you.
I thank you as well for including the outreach.
Could I just clarify something? Are you saying that the sections of the community could hire that?
Yeah, so through your Madam Mayor.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. we're in the development of the policy for the driver revival van, but it's ultimately owned by the community.
Yes.
We are the custodians of it. It's grant funded by Transport. I mean, I think it's in our interest to get it out there and get the community using it as much as they can. It probably doesn't extend at this point to private use potentially, but certainly community organisations would be well and truly able to use.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried. Councillor Willis.
What
Page
page are you on?
191. Urban street tree maintenance policy.
And we've, excuse me, through you, Madam Mayor, we've dealt with that already, just with the, yeah, it's on the board. Thank you.
Okay.
Next fix for me.
Councillor Tradiana, one last thing on the driver revolver van too, and I must congratulate the council for the prudent decision that you guys made with this driver revival van, because it's a full-blown food van premises. If you remember, it's not just a place where you serve tea and coffee.
Yes.
So the reason it's got all the facilities that can be deployed as a full-blown food van to those outlying areas, not just driving the rider at Victoria.
So,
Yeah.
have we got it yet?
No, unfortunately, it has been quite delayed.
We're excited. I'm sure Uther, Garima, Jeroboam, they're all excited. They're all waiting for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's right. Where it's coming from is love and beauty. So it's been it got inundated with the floods around the year.
Too much smoke.
And the manufacturer has recognised that there's been a very long delay, and they've done some upgrades for us at no cost to try and help us with that delay. So it's not far away. Literally not far. Like next, I reckon 3 or 4 weeks we'll see it in Forbes.
And that's,
So, I think
We'll
another
have to have
question.
an inspection
Can
of
I
it,
ask
sorry.
another question? So we can use the driver reviver, we'll do that. Can we pop it down at the lake until such time as we get the
Absolutely.
other one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Somebody can run it.
And so, you know, like I just think it's really exciting. Like our businesses, you know, like our villages can use it for their back to Garima, back to Arinya, back to Beebong, back to, you know, like it has such wonderful potential.
And so there's 2 more things to that. We are at the moment working out what branding and advertising we're going to put on the side of it. So it's a very unique looking vehicle in itself. It's aluminium. It looks like a what do they call those things? Jetstream. The American
Yes. Oh,
so it looks
yes.
like an American jetstream.
Yes, you said that.
So it looks quite funky. We're getting the advertising on it. So once it's branded up, then
Yeah,
it's going to be good for council as well.
Retro or?
It looks retro because it's got those domes.
It's that silver one.
yeah,
It's like those American ones.
Yeah.
And is it aluminium, so it's
Well, I've
the
never
Shire
seen
one?
it, so you know more than we do.
I've seen
So we
it.
saw
We've
the photo,
subscribed.
we decided to buy it. We saw
Yeah, no,
Oh,
we've seen a
okay.
photo.
I must
We've seen a
have
photo.
been
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed a couple of
I
briefing
reckon it looks
sessions.
pretty spit.
Schmirk.
Like,
Yeah, I'm ready. Go, General Manager's got the floor.
As I say ad nauseum, always a pleasure to acknowledge the acknowledgement and congratulations and appreciation letters. Phil and Trish Cleal, number 1. We're writing to express our thanks and appreciation for Council's planning and growth team's action. I'm sure Matt Tell asked people to write these letters.
His
Regarding
wife does.
our residential address. As you're aware, we have been concerned for some years regarding our residential address. The use of technology, call centres and reliance on GPS directions for emergency services has increased the confusion around the issue. We are relieved to know that we will now have an address which will be recognised by emergency services and government facilities. We are grateful to the efforts of council staff in attending to this important issue, and please pass on our thanks to all those involved in this process. Helen Dorr and her family to the Mayor Phyllis Miller OAM. On behalf of the family, I would like to thank you and the Council of Forbes for your respect and acknowledgement of the passing of our mother, Norma Lamb. Our mother's passing was quick and totally unexpected. The family are devastated, and it will take some time to move forward. Mum loved Forbes and always supported the town. She would defend it with passion and criticise those that did not shop locally. She loved the big Joanna and the Indigenous artwork. Ken Payne phoned to express his appreciation of Council for upgrading the Mount Tullabung Road to 2 lanes and sealing it. He said it makes a dangerous road so much safer. Great job, and thank you to those involved. Grazing down the Lachlan Committee, I wanted to extend our heartfelt thank you for Forbes Shire Council support as a sponsor of our 2022 event. We really appreciate your confidence in us to deliver a great event. Hopefully your representatives snapped a photo with your sponsor board on site and enjoyed the day. John Bruce and his daughter Belinda, please pass on our thanks to Andrew Rousel and his team for reinstating the 10-tonne load limit road signs on South Lead Road to stop the large trucks. Thanks for getting this done so promptly. A CBD business. With very sincere thanks, can I please express our gratitude to Matthew Wallace, your parking ranger. We had an issue this morning relating to parking in front of our office. I made a call to council and asked if the parking ranger could have a chat with the vehicle owners and let them know how their parking impacts on our senior clients. Within what seemed like no time, Matthew had a chat and the offending ute voluntarily moved from our front entrance. Matthew then gave me a call to let me know he had spoken to the vehicle owner. All in all, the whole matter was handled with such speed, politeness, and I had to send a more formal note of our gratitude. Matthew handled the situation today with no fuss and much courtesy. He was an absolute gentleman about the whole situation, and we'd like to congratulate him on a very positive outcome. Item number 7 is Karen Wright from Forbes Evening Branch of the CWA. We'd like to express our sincere appreciation for your support of our grant application 1922-2022 Fashion Parade Afternoon Tea event. We are thrilled that it was approved. And finally, Grazing Down the Lachlan Committee, on behalf of Team Grazing, sincere thanks for all that you did in collaboration to pop up an amazing grazing breakfast on Sunday, the 18th of September. You provided a great option for brekkie for our graziers, finishing off a weekend events showcasing all that is truly unique about the fabulous little town of ours, and enabled townsfolk who were unable to attend sundowners or grazing to be a part of the event. We had so much positive feedback around the whole weekend, and we have pictures of the brekkie to share with you once our photographer delivers the final file. Thank you once again. It was a big lift on top of all that you do to promote Forbes, and was truly appreciated.
So would someone like to move that recommendation? It's been moved by Councillor Duggan, seconded by Councillor Roylance. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried. Would someone like to move that we adjourn for photograph and afternoon tea? It's been moved by Councillor Herbert, seconded by Councillor Webb. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye. Aye. I declare it carried. By all means, can have a couple. We're going to have a photo. It's been moved by Councillor Herbert, seconded by Councillor Willis. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, I declare it carried. Before we finish with our open council business, I'd like to acknowledge Ned Brockman, who has certainly captured the hearts of all of our country. The whole of Australia knows who Ned Brockman is, and we can proudly say that he's one of our homegrown boys. So I was at the airport the other day and it was on the television, and I wanted to cry. It was so exciting and beautiful. So we're going to organise to formally acknowledge him here in Forbes. But once everything settles down in Sydney, so there's a whole range of things that he's doing, and he needs time to recover and get himself sorted, so that we can organise a date and a time that would suit Ned to come, and we will discuss the details of what that will look like once we get the date. But we'll certainly be formally acknowledging him as one of our citizens. Now, there's there's a petition on change.org for him to be nominated as the 2023 Australian of the Year, but the entries have closed. So there are people out there that are trying to get something to change there. I think we'll be uphill doing it, but you know what? It's always worth a try. So we are hoping that the National Australia Day Council to see what can be done. So one of the staff have been talking to them to see if we can do anything about those nominations being closed. But if you want to go on change.org, there is a petition on there that a lot of Australians are certainly putting their thoughts forward. So I think it's appropriate that we congratulate Ned on his wonderful 1.8 million, 46 days and about 4,000 kilometres. I think it's a true testament to the courage and the strength of a young man of 23. So I want to wish him well, and of course pay tribute to his parents. They must be very, very proud, and his siblings. So we'll keep moving on that, and hopefully we will get some kind of really nice event that we can acknowledge Ned in person. Okay. Now, is there any business without notice in our company? Yes.
Can we investigate the cost of an electronic notice board to have in town somewhere? Because there's people who wanted to turn up to or didn't know anything about the Melbourne Cup being here, the Queen's Memorial Service, NAIDOC Week, and if we could have that up somewhere in town, the general public can see it. Some people are not looking at Facebook and so forth, and I've seen in a town where they've had a very big,
haven't we?
not one on a trail, one that's permanently mounted somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Something like Twitter.
Okay.
Oh look, I've seen one in Palmerston in Darwin.
Is that every entrance or just one?
No, there's just one in a common position where people can see what's on in town. Because a lot of us, miss out on some of that stuff, and the council staff put on a lot of work into putting on these shows for things, and some of the public don't know about it.
Yeah,
and I think we'd get far better attendance to it. So I don't know what the cost would be, but if we could have a look at that.
Yeah. So can we? We'll ask for a report on that for the next council meeting, as to what the kind of costs are involved with that, and strategically think about whether we have one or two, so we can have it in both directions and people won't miss out. Okay. Any other?
Yeah, one more thing.
Yep.
It was rather remiss of the Shire engineer not introducing his two new employees on page 21.
Yeah, I know, the magpies.
Madam, I just got a text in the Platties today at 6 o'clock. They're all going to roll down there. They're inviting families and so on, obviously involved with the club and not, to film a video and send it on to Ned. So.
Who's that?
Brockman. Platypod. So at 6 o'clock today, they've invited obviously everyone and anyone down there.
Also, is there, just following a meeting this morning with the Business Chamber, is council aware of any regional incentive to bring employees that are in hospitality or childcare? It's just been a thing that's come up with the Chamber, as in,
Could we investigate any opportunities for hospitality and childcare? And I think that's talking about visas.
Well, either. Yeah, it's
Visas
just come
or
up
stealing other people's.
Yeah, well,
either.
Yeah. Relocating.
Yeah, relocating. Okay, so we'll
Could I just on that point, we have a lot of Fijians, Samoans, Tongans, and I believe you recently went to Fiji, so you know how those people handle children and so on. Well, we've got a lot of Fijians living here, but they can't bring their families into the country. And I know Michael McCormack is the Shadow Minister for South Pacific, at the present. Yeah, he is. He is. there's an opportunity because to me, once they come here, they've got those child skills already. I'm just wondering why we're not sort of trying to work with McCormack to be able to attract them here for, you know, as far as maybe daycare or assistance at schools or so on.
Can I just say that on that particular subject, it's from the Fijians. They don't want them to leave the country. That's the issue.
No, well, their husbands are here.
Yeah, I know, but
And
for
they
some,
can only
for some
go back
reason.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
A year, which is crazy, unless there's a death. So I've had actually a couple of meetings with them. So really, it's I haven't had a chance to approach Michael McCormack, but they've got all their wives, all that, and they're all just perfect people to be able to go and do, you know, daycare.
So can you just tell me what I'm going to write here in the minutes for the council, for our staff to do? What is the do you want here?
I guess if you could entice McCormack to come here one day and we can see where he's up to with it, because I'm pretty sure that they are working on coming up with some solution along with the current government.
So we'll get some information. So what you're asking us to do is to go to Michael McCormack, our local member, and get some information so we can
If
read
you
it
could
back
call
in.
in here on one of our meetings in the near future, or
Oh, well, either, but we'll get some information from him and invite him as well.
And there are other contacts like Imelda Davis, who she's actually on Sydney City Council, and she is, I think, look, I can't quote the title, but she actually is like the president or the representative of the South Pacific Islander group, and I'm sure I've quoted that incorrectly, but she's a spokesperson. So being in contact with someone like Imelda Davis, you know.
There's 3,000 Fijians in the country at the present. That's not Solomon Islanders, Tongans, Samoans, you know, so there's a lot of people here that are here with no family.
Okay, anything further? No? Okay, would someone like to move that we go into Committee of the Whole to deal with our confidential matters? Moved by Councillor Matiski, seconded by Councillor Willis. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye, against, I declare it carried. Thanks, John.